Oh, okay. Well, what do you think so far? Happy Friday, everybody. It is the last day of November. It's November 30th. We're about done with the 11th month of the year 2018. I am Dan Kuntz. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCWLIFE Channel. Don't forget this weekend, wherever you go out and about, regardless of what it is, you can take us along. We are portable. We got some high-quality local television programming to keep you entertained and informed throughout the course of the weekend, and a good show for you today. Lots going on. We got your past report. We got sports. We got a lot of news to get to. Busy news day yesterday around the newsroom. We have the obscure holiday birthdays today in history. Everybody's entitled to Mike McNulty's opinion. And we're going to replay the interview that I did with the two leaders of the Wenatchee High School Golden Apple Band's Booster Club, talking about Lance Coleman and Janice Sundstrom. They have a huge fundraiser tomorrow at Wenatchee High School. It's their annual holiday gift bazaar. We'll talk about that and what a great competition season that the Golden Apple Band had over the course of the fall campaign. We'll talk about that in the back half of this show. Not a bad looking weather forecast. Leavenworth could get a little bit of light snow just in time for the first of the 3 weekends of the tree lighting ceremonies that take place in the Bavarian village of Leavenworth. Lots to get to. What do you say we buckle our seatbelt, grab a cup of coffee, and head on down the road. Let's take you around North Central Washington with our Valley View cameras as selected by Kat, who's in control because she's full of energy. That is the Wenatchee Valley proper. That's zoomed in just a little bit. I use that little, there's a little part, geographically speaking, near the cross camera, which is what you're looking at. You can see a little bump that sticks out there of Wenatchee Heights. So that tells me that we're zoomed in just a little bit. You can see the Sunny Slope area. You can see Birch Mountain. Kind of a mixture of clouds and sun right now. We're going to have sunshine for the most part today. A stray shower or two this morning. Outside of that, quite a bit of sunshine and above normal temperatures today. Yesterday's high was 42. Normally we're 37. So for the most part, we've had a very mild and dry November. How long is that going to last? I'll let you know here in just a couple minutes with your weather forecast. From this point forward, I don't know what we're going to look at. Kat gets to decide, and she says, good morning, Rock Island. The Rock Island Golf Course. I'm assuming it's still open. I honestly don't know. I know most of the other regional golf courses in our area have closed for the winter. For one thing, if it gets really cold, even if it's sunny out, you can't walk on the greens. It damages the grass, so they don't even bother, even if the course is dry. So I'm assuming Rock Island, which usually stays open a little bit longer into the season, might still be open. I don't know. I wouldn't go golfing right now. You won't be able to find your golf ball. Good morning, Rock Island. Camera number 3 is a Dissolve 2. This is one of our newer cameras. I can't remember what we call it, but I can tell you what you're looking at. That's the Columbia View. Okay, so we call it Columbia View. And the reason we call it Columbia View, because you get a view of the Columbia. That's that big thing in the middle full of water. That's the Columbia River. And that ribbon of highway that you see to the left is the highway that goes between Chelan and Pateros. So that's looking straight north up the Columbia River, and a good looking view there. And finally, camera 4. Let's say hello to, don't tell me, is that Union Valley, Kat? That's Union Valley. It's pulled back quite a bit. You can see the sleeping elephant, or whatever it is they call us, that geographic formation there. You can see the butte, Chelan to your left, Wapato Point to your right, and a good looking view of Chelan on this Friday morning. All right, 4 minutes after the hour, let's take a look at the National Weather Service. Let's take a look at the National Weather Service. Let's take a look at the This show is already off the rails. How did that happen? I don't know. Partly cloudy this morning, partly sunny this afternoon. Slight chance of some rain. Any rain we get will be this morning. Outside of that, we're going to have some sun breaks. High today of about 45 degrees. A little rain tonight. Yep, it's a good distinct possibility with snow, by the way, in the Waterville Plateau. So right about 4,000 feet is going to be the snow level. So Waterville, you can get snow that will come down and stick to the ground by the time you get up early on Saturday morning. Saturday proper, quite a bit of cloud cover. No real precipitation in the forecast. High of about 41. Saturday night, mostly cloudy. 29 for the overnight low. And then Sunday, partly sunny. We start cooling down. Excuse me. On Sunday, partly cloudy, cooler. A weak system on Monday. Some light snow possible. Not going to stick to the ground. And then sunshine Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So all in all things considered, as we're making that transition from November to December, pretty quiet, really. Let's take you up to the mountain passes. Things are not so quiet up in the mountain passes. In fact, it's snowing right now on I-90. It was snowing considerably harder not long ago. It's kind of tapered off a little bit, but still it's snowing, but it's not really sticking to the roadways, you can tell, so there are no advisories or restrictions on Snoqualmie Pass this morning. Roadway is mostly bare and wet. You'll find some slush in places. That's Stevens. They have a traction tire advisory on Stevens, although you can't tell from that camera. It is snowing on Stevens, and you can see there is some snow and slush on the roadway, and because of that, they have a traction tire advisory posted right now on Stevens Pass. Let's take a live shot of Blewett, where things are pretty quiet. There's some light snow coming down on US 97 right at the summit of Blewett. Just the last mile and a half in either direction is where you're going to find the snow. Outside of that, no advisories or restrictions. For the most part, Blewett is bare and dry. A couple of inches of snow expected on I-90 today. About 4 inches of snow is in the forecast for Stevens Pass. Very light snow in the forecast for Blewett. So there's going to be some snow in the mountain passes today. Tonight it starts tapering off a little bit. A couple of inches of snow on Stevens, a couple of inches of snow on I-90. As I mentioned before, up on the Waterville Plateau, you're going to get some snow, it looks like, tonight into Saturday. Heads up if you're heading in that direction. A couple of inches of snow on Saturday, and then that's it. Starting Saturday night, and for the most part, all of next week, your long-term forecast for the Cascades calls for dry conditions, just like it's here in the Wenatchee Valley. Traction tires advised on Stevens, no advisories or restrictions on I-90 or on Blewett, but all 3 of the major mountain passes right now are getting snowfall on this Friday morning. 6.5 minutes after the hour, we are at 37 degrees under a mixture of clouds and sun, although the sun's not quite up yet. We'll take a break, and when we come back, your Friday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 4 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCWLIFE Channel.
I came here to CVCH because one of my friends referred me. When I met Dr. Jocelyn, she was just amazing. She connected with my son, and it meant so much to me. He opens up so quickly because she just sits there and plays with him. It really is like going to see a friend. It's really great to walk into somewhere where you feel welcomed and you feel accepted and respected. It just feels like home.
Hey everyone, did you know that the NCWLIFE Channel is North Central Washington's go-to source for news? No matter how you prefer to view your news, NCWLIFE has you covered. Watch the evening news weeknights on TV, stream it, read it at ncwlife.com, or catch the latest news by following us on Facebook. Stay informed with local news, sports, weather, and shows featuring local people and events. NCWLIFE, a reflection and a spotlight of the communities we call home.
8 minutes after the hour on this Friday, the 30th day of November. I'm Dan Kuntz. Here is your Friday morning news. Chelan County PUD commissioners have a full agenda of issues to deal with at their Monday meeting. That includes a proposal to set new rates for cryptocurrency miners. PUD staff has proposed a rate structure that would raise the cost of power for miners and require more upfront payments for building out the system to serve them. On yesterday's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, PUD Commissioner Dennis Bowles told me that the power needs of the new industry have put regional PUDs with their low power costs at the very forefront of a complicated issue.
Kind of what Chelan County PUD and Grant and Douglas are doing are paving the way for their 3,000 other public utilities around the United States. And so being the lead dog isn't necessarily always cracked up to be, but I think our staff and certainly our management and the leadership under Steve Wright have done, I think, about as careful and considerate of an approach to this as you possibly can. They've been great. Some of the larger ones in particular have said, can you just give us a box to play in? Share with us what it is you think we ought to pay, and we'll determine in terms of our business plans what we can do to make that feasible and operational. Others have said, listen, we know our market is volatile, but we would like,
the least.
to say the least. Yeah, because like I said, last night I looked and it's $3,902 last night for Bitcoin. In January, February, it was up around 20,000. So that's a huge variable in less than a year. So they know that they can't stabilize that end of it, but they would like us to stabilize at a very cheap rate the cost involved, and the biggest cost involved is the energy cost. And so that would actually then, if we did that as the review would like us to, that would cause us then to have to socialize those additional rates across the other 48,000 base meters in Chelan County. And as I shared earlier with you, no one has walked up to me in the grocery store aisle and said, "Hey, Dennis, can you increase my rates so the Bitcoin miner has a stabilized, market that they can play in on the energy cost?" And so that's never been a conversation yet.
The Chelan County PUD Commission meeting is Monday, 10 a.m. at their headquarters in downtown Wenatchee. A Moses Lake man was arrested late Monday night at a Wenatchee hotel where police said they found 2 stolen vehicles and items tying him to a crime spree that spanned 3 counties. Wenatchee police officers reported spotting a 2007 Ford F-150 pickup stolen in Orondo. The vehicle was suspected of being used in several fraud and forgery crimes in Wenatchee. When a woman opened the door to a hotel room, police said they saw Levi S. Godfrey, 28, trying to escape out a rear patio door where he ran right into the arms of waiting officers. Godfrey was a suspect in the November 25th theft of a 2015 Toyota Corolla and residential burglary in Grant County. The Corolla was found in the hotel parking lot. Godfrey jailed on suspicion of the auto thefts, also identity theft, possession of stolen property, and drugs. His girlfriend was not arrested. Iconic Leavenworth philanthropist Harriet Bullitt has announced the transfer of her ownership of the Sleeping Lady Resort to the nonprofit Icicle Fund effective at the end of the year. She says in a prepared statement that she wants to pass on the resort so it can keep growing, but not necessarily get bigger. Sleeping Lady is a 58-room destination resort and conference center outside of Leavenworth. Bullitt says it will continue to operate as a for-profit business under the same management team. Icicle Fund is a 501c3 nonprofit that was founded by Bullitt to enhance the health and quality of life for all the residents of North Central Washington by engaging people with arts, history, and the natural environment. An open letter from the city of Leavenworth pays homage to the local soldier who was recently killed in action in Afghanistan. The letter states that the city offers its heartfelt sympathy to the family and friends of Sergeant Leandro Jasso, who was killed November 24th as a member of the U.S. Army's Elite Ranger Unit. He was 25 years old and a 2012 graduate of Cascade High School. In honor of Sergeant Jasso's service, the City Hall flag, by the decree of Mayor Sherry K. Farivar, will be flown at half-staff for 5 days, and his name will be placed on the City Hall's Veterans Memorial Plaque. A special memorial service is also scheduled to be held on Sunday, December 9th at the Cascade High School Gymnasium. Speaking of Leavenworth, a new Leavenworth Adventure Park application has been deemed complete by the city, and that means a new round of public comment opportunities will begin soon. This is now the second time the proposal has been submitted to the city. In September, the original application was withdrawn by the developers. The 10-acre park would be on the west end of town off Icicle Road and Highway 2. Concerns have been raised about traffic, parking, noise, and disruption of the natural beauty of the area. Developer David Moffitt said all the concerns have been addressed in the new application. The city will take comments from the public prior to any approval. The project requires both a conditional use permit and a commercial amusement enterprise and a variance from the front and side yard setbacks. Moffitt says he hopes construction can begin next summer with a planned opening of December 2019. Downtown Wenatchee's new community Christmas tree arrived yesterday afternoon and was quickly planted outside the America Performing Arts Center. Dave Gallatley paid for the new tree, which was shipped from Oregon. It replaces a tree that was diseased and removed last summer. The new tree is 22 feet high. It weighs 1,200 pounds, and it will be the center of attention December 8th at a formal tree lighting ceremony. And finally, on this Friday morning, economic development is the theme of this morning's feature video. It was produced by the North Central Washington Economic Development District.
For over 10,000 years, our people have been connected to this glacier-carved land. Our history runs deep, and yet it is only the beginning of our story. As the land shifts and grows, so do our districts, our communities, and the people within them. There is a lot going on beneath the surface. We see every change as an opportunity to create something new, to make something better. Everywhere we look, we see opportunities for new beginnings. We see blank canvases waiting to become masterpieces. Our communities are resilient. creating new hope for themselves and their neighbors when disaster has left them without. Our communities are imaginative. They are capable of solving big problems and inventing better ways of doing business. Our communities dare to explore the unknown and ask the hard questions in order to create a sustainable future for their children and their grandchildren. We believe we all have the ability to be leaders if given the tools. It is our mission to support our community by providing education, training, and networking so that each individual can find their place to lead. We believe we are better together. If one of us succeeds, we all succeed. We are small, but together, we are mighty. We believe each voice adds to our story. The youngest and the oldest among us, we all have value and potential. We are built on the hopes and dreams of so many before us, and it is the hopes and dreams of our youth that will propel us forward. We know that all generations must work together to create opportunities for each other. The attitude of our hardworking communities is evident. Their energy is contagious. This place is full of life. Our foundation is strong. Our future is bright.
Good stuff there. 17 minutes after the hour, a friendly reminder, the Leshwab Community Toy Drive is in full swing. We want you to be a part of it. Of course, we need your donations. It doesn't work without you. Again, we're asking for, as you're out and about shopping this weekend, even next weekend, or whatever it was, we'd ask you to pick up a new unwrapped toy and then drop it off in any of our sponsor locations. There are a bunch of them, of course, both Leshwab locations in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, Cashmere Valley Bank branches in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, Works in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. Also, Sangster Motors, Hooked on Toys, our friends at Country 104.7 KKRV. If you're not sure what to buy, you can go to the Facebook page, Leshwab Community Toy Drive Facebook page. They have a list of the hot toys and the specific age group and gender. And hey, I want to remind you that the Community Toy Drive is going to be out in front of Walmart, which is always hopping on a Saturday. They're going to be there tomorrow from 9 to 1 for a diaper drive. Walmart is donating $1,500 worth of diapers right out of the box. And then as you go shopping at Walmart tomorrow morning, they're asking you to pick up some diapers and go ahead and throw them into the hoppers so people can get diapers. Diapers are expensive. It doesn't sound like much of a Christmas gift, but just having a bunch of diapers for those folks will free up the necessary funds for them to go out and get some good gifts for their kids, or you can just do it yourself. We helped 700 kids last year. Our goal this year is 1,000, the Leshwab Community Toy Drive. Don't forget the news with Grant Olson at 5, 6, and 10, 5, 6, and 10. Grant Olson with the news, Eric Grandstrom with sports. Don't forget we have high school basketball tonight. The Cashmere Bulldogs and the Eastmont Wildcats boys basketball at the Eastmont Gymnasium will be there. Tip off at 7:30 tonight. And don't forget, if you want to be a part of the news team, look at the bottom of your screen, and that's how you do it. Go to our Facebook page, go to our website, send us an email, pick up the telephone and give us a call. However you prefer to communicate with people, that's how you do it to communicate with us, the NCWLIFE Channel. 19 minutes after the hour, sports is next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley from Studio 4 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCWLIFE Channel.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service-oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
Turn back the clocks and grab the ice melt. Winter weather is here. This is Corey at Rose Tractor. If you're looking for a reliable way to clear snow, look no further than Cub Cadet. For sidewalks and driveways, a Cub Cadet snow thrower will get the job done in a jiffy. For larger jobs, a Cub Cadet Challenger utility vehicle with a snow blade will handle about anything. You can depend on Cub Cadet for years of reliable performance, and we'll help you select the best model for your job at Rose Tractor, family-run business at the corner of 3rd and Rock Island Road in East Wenatchee.
And we are back. Fair skies, 37 degrees outside of our studios. Sunshine for the most part today. Just a couple of passing clouds and a high of about 42. Let's start out sports with a look at what happened yesterday in the prep schedule. The Les Schwab Prep basketball scoreboard is on your screen. Chelan won their home opener 83-43 over visiting Clay Ellen. The Goats were led by had 20 points from Cade Christopherson, Connor Wilson, and Quinn Stamps. Each chipped in 16 points apiece. From Chelan, Coach Jeff Pearl said, guys are happy to win their home opener. They always are. Also last night, Manson edged Aniat. On the girls' side, Wenatchee ran into trouble at Pasco. As you see there, Aniat no trouble with Manson. The Eastmont and Wenatchee girls bowling teams were down in Yakima yesterday, the gateway to Wapato. These were non-league matches. Wenatchee swept Ellensburg. The final there was 4-0. They outscored the Bulldogs 1,837 to 1,178. That's good for head coach Jeff Levitt. The standouts, Hannah Johnson, Kyla Hankins, and Jessica Holbrook. Eastmont also posted a victory. They knocked off Sela 3-1. We heard from Coach Christy Bing. She says Olivia Ellington had a good game. So did Daylin Thomas and Alicia Hastings, a 204 and a 201. Prep schedule for tonight. Let's talk about girls basketball. There you see it. Waterville-Mansfield's on the road to Brewster. Cascade travels to Natchez Valley. They tip off at 6 o'clock. And boys basketball tonight. Cascade is at Natchez Valley. The Shockers take on the Bears in Brewster. And right here, live on the NCWLIFE Channel, Eric Granster will be at courtside. Eastmont hosting the Cashmere Bulldogs also at 7:30. Saturday, we'll do girls basketball. Columbia's at Aniat, Manson's at Lake Roosevelt. Eastmont's on the west side to take on Bothell, which tastes awful. That's at 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock tip, Manson in Cashmere. Bulldogs hope to take on Kings. Waterville-Mansfield's on the road for the second straight day. Wenatchee travels to Southridge. Again, this is all girls. And Granger hosts Chelan at 6 o'clock. And boys basketball, same schedule, just a little bit later on in the day. Aniat and Columbia at 2, Manson and Lake Roosevelt at 4, Republic and Waterville-Mansfield at 6, 7:30 tip-off for Chelan and Granger, and Wenatchee and Kennewick to take on Southridge. Also wrestling tournaments for some local teams. The Wenatchee boys will be at the Kennewick Invite. They start at 10 a.m. Eastmont will be in Yakima for the Davis Invite at 10. Caribou Trail League, they have Chelan, Cashmere, and Cascade and Omak at 10 a.m. Girls wrestling, Eastmont hosts the Lady Cat Kickoff Classic, Cashmere, Wenatchee. And neither of the schools, they start wrestling at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. The fall sports season in Washington State wraps up this weekend. The Gridiron Classic in the Tacoma Dome. There is your schedule. It begins at 4 o'clock today, the 2B Championship, Kalama and Napavine. Then at 7:30 tonight, O'Dea and Eastside Catholic for the 3A Championship. And then they got 4 games in a row tomorrow. The 1A Championship, Newport and Colville. That'll be followed by the 2A title game between Linden and Hawkinson. Elmira, Cooley, Heartline, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young takes on Odessa for the 1B Championship at 4. And then the big schools at 7:30, Lake Stevens and Union in the 4A title game. You can watch, by the way, the 3A and 4A championship games on Root Sports. The Wenatchee Wild are on the road this weekend. They're in Salmon Arm tonight. The Silverbacks and the Wild will drop the puck at 7 o'clock. Wenatchee going for 5 wins in a row. Then they'll be in Vernon to take on the Vipers at 6 on Saturday. The 11th ranked Washington Huskies take on the Utah Utes for the Pac-12 championship tonight in beautiful Santa Clara, California, 5 o'clock on Fox. Coming up tomorrow, the 1AA playoffs begin for Eastern Washington University. They'll host Nichols on the red carpet at 2 o'clock on ESPN3, a channel that I don't have. Let's see, we got college basketball. Let's talk about that. It's a battle in Seattle tonight as the Washington women travel across town to take on Seattle University at 6. The number 1 ranked Gonzaga. They're going to be without a couple of starters tomorrow. They'll take on Creighton at 11 o'clock on Fox. The Washington State women host Boise State tomorrow afternoon at 1. Eastern Washington plays at Seattle University, and the Cougar men are at New Mexico State. Then on Sunday, it's a doubleheader at Heck Evanson Pavilion. The Washington women host, apparently, Georgie Mason, followed by UC Santa Barbara at Washington at 5. And finally, CenturyLink Field will be jumping on Sunday afternoon. Richard Sherman back in town, 49ers, taking on the Seahawks. Wide receiver Doug Baldwin made headlines yesterday. Says he felt Sherman was mistreated in how he was ousted by the Seahawks last year.
I thought it was really to be honest with you, how it ended, you know. Would really have liked for him to stay here and had an opportunity to finish his career with this organization. But, you know, it's part of the business. It doesn't work out that way. You know, I still stay in consistent contact with Sherman, Jermaine. Gosh, you guys are tweeting that out already, huh? No, they, you know, obviously extremely close to them. And so not having those guys on the team, obviously, you know, we spend the majority of our time here. I'm here 12 hours out of the day. And when you don't see those guys, the consistent rocks that have been in my life for so long, it definitely impacts you in an emotional, mental way.
Well, was it just the fact that it happened, or was there something about the way it happened that you didn't like?
I mean, it's, is there any good way, you know? So, no, there is no good way to have your teammates who you've been close with and have you built an organization with, have them leave in any fashion is not fun.
Doug Baldwin was also referring to former teammate Jermaine Kearse. Seahawks 49ers 125 kickoff on Fox, and those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Friday, 26 minutes after the hour. Let's do the obscure holiday of the day today. Today is Computer Security Day, always held on November 30th. The last day of any month is a good day to organize things and get things together. That includes your computer. So the basic, common sense applies. Make sure your antivirus software is up and running and up to date. Make sure your firewall is turned on. Strong passwords. Never write down your password. I memorize mine. Of course, I have a brilliant brain. If you have a bunch of programs on your computer that you don't use anymore, get rid of them. First of all, they're just taking up space, and second of all, you never know about that. And of course, the number one thing, and this is silly because I see this all the time, make sure your wireless, home wireless router is secured. It's got a password. I can't believe how many places I go and I see an unsecured Wi-Fi connection. Just be careful. Today is World Computer Security Day. Be smart, be safe, and be good. 27 minutes after the hour today in history. Just a quiet day back in 1954 in Sylacauga, Alabama. In fact, Ann Elizabeth Hodges wasn't doing anything. She was napping. She was sitting at home napping on her couch. And a meteorite the size of a grapefruit, crashed through the roof of the house, hit her console radio, and then struck her. She was hospitalized, badly bruised, but otherwise she was fine. This is the only documented case of a human being being hit by an object from outer space, in this case, a meteorite. Then things got really nasty. Ann Hodges wanted to keep the meteor. Hey, it hit me in my house, it's mine, because people were offering her thousands of dollars for it. The landlady, Bertie Guy, said, no, the rock's mine because it fell through my house on my property. They eventually settled out of court, and Ms. Hodges there got to buy the meteorite for $500 that she turned around and tried to sell it, but by the time all this happened, it was a couple of years later, nobody cared anymore. Ann Elizabeth Hodges hit by a meteorite. What are the odds of that? Happened on this date 64 years ago today. This is the 36th anniversary of the day. You can go to your local record store and pick up the new Michael Jackson album. It's called Thriller. It was pretty popular. In just over a year, Thriller became the best-selling album in the history of this planet and is to this day. 66 million copies have been sold. So the odds are pretty good you got one in your collection somewhere. Thriller hit record stores 36 years ago today. ExxonMobil is a behemoth, and it came into being on this date 20 years ago today. ExxonMobil signed a $73.7 billion agreement to merge to create ExxonMobil, which is the largest company on the planet. And that's why I don't get my gas there. And finally, this is the 19th anniversary of, oh gee, we got protesters. That wasn't supposed to happen. You remember this? The WTO, the World Trade Organization, the annual meeting in Seattle. Police were completely unprepared for the chaos that followed. The opening ceremonies were canceled. 157 people were arrested. They declared no protest zones, a curfew. 2 battalions of the National Guard was called in. It was a bad 3 or 4 days for Seattle, and it all started on this date 19 years ago. And finally, let's do some birthdays. He was born Samuel Longhorn Clemens. I'm talking about Mark Twain, the father, if you will, of American literature. I think he is anyway. Of course, his 2 classic books, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. We know him as Mark Twain. He was born in this state in 1835. Now, probably one of the half-dozen most important people of the 20th century, Winston Churchill, was born on this date in 1874, lived to the age of 90, the first person ever to be declared an honorary citizen of the United States. All right, got a bat in my throat. 30 minutes after the hour, everybody's entitled to Mike McNally's opinion is next, and then my conversation with Lance Coleman and Janice Sundstrom on the way. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE Channel.
This is the NCWLIFE Community Calendar brought to you by Local Tel. The Wenatchee High School Band Boosters annual Holiday Craft Bazaar is this Saturday from 9 to 3 in the Wenatchee High School Commons. Come find that perfect gift. Also Saturday is Christmas in Cashmere from 12 to 3 on Cottage Avenue. Enjoy warm beverages, holiday treats, goodie bags, arts and crafts, music, and more. For more information and other community events, visit ncwlife.com.
What's your auto mocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate Frappuccino.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the mocha Frappitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Rosemary, I've been at this job for a whole week and I haven't got a promotion yet.
You should have someone around to help you think things through.
Maybe I should.
I'm always available.
Oh, you're sure great. I hope I can show my appreciation.
Lunch!
Huh?
I said lunch.
What about lunch?
I'd love to.
Love to what?
You said, what about lunch? Gee, I thought you'd never ask.
I didn't mean what about lunch. I meant what about lunch?
Or dinner and a show.
What show?
Wenatchee High School's How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Buy your tickets today.
Bob's Burgers and Brew in Wenatchee. Only the best. Bob's Burgers and Brew in Wenatchee. Only the best.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I used to say I love to travel, but recently, after a trip to Taiwan to see my son, I realized I hate to travel. Now, look, I do love being other places, but that's different than traveling. Being other places means new food, new experiences, new cultures to experience and get used to, and new stuff to see and learn about. Now, hey, I do love that. But travel means getting there, and that means long lines at airports, those TSA guys requiring me to submit the extra personal searches of my person, security people stealing my toothpaste because the tube is larger than 3 ounces, and travel means trying to be comfortable in the torture chambers that airlines call economy class. Oh yeah, I love to be places. I just hate the traveling part. Now, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and that's my opinion.
Come find your holiday gifts at Antique Mall at Cashmere this holiday season. With 15,000 square feet to explore, Antique Mall at Cashmere has something for everyone, from coin enthusiasts to avid collectors. For do-it-yourselfers, this is the place to find your next repurposing project. What a great way to make your holiday gifts for someone special, using your keen eye to make something old and new again. Discover your next holiday gift in the Antique Mall at Cashmere. Stop on by today.
It's a hometown celebration. Christmas in Cashmere, Saturday, December 1st from noon to 3. It's family fun with a kids' craft station, festive music, complimentary warm beverages, and tasty holiday treats. Come enjoy the sights and sounds of the season while awaiting the arrival of Santa Claus. This message brought to you in part by
the Cashmere Chamber of Commerce mission is to promote and support new and existing businesses. Liberty Orchards, home to applets and cotlets. They make great gifts for the holiday. Stop by for a tour.
And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Dan Kuntz, your host. It was another banner year for one of the crown jewels of the Wenatchee school system in Wenatchee High School proper. I'm talking about Wenatchee High School Golden Apple Marching Band, which just has been going wonderful work for many, many years now. And their comp season, their fall comp season is over, and their big fundraiser of the year, the Holiday Gift and Craft Bazaar, is this Saturday on the campus at Wenatchee High School. And joining me to talk all things band, to my immediate left is the president of this year's Booster Club. You know this guy. He's been on the show before, Lance Coleman. And my far left is the Vice President, soon to be President, Janice Sundstrom is joining us. Welcome to the program again.
Thank you.
Janice, you're a first timer, so all first timers get the same question. A little bit about Janice. Tell us about yourself.
This is my 5th year in the band. I have twins that graduated last year, and I have a freshman this year that plays trumpet and an 8th grader at Pioneer that will be coming in next year.
Who actually played with the band this year,
Yes.
kind of got a head start.
She was a fill-in this year for comp season, yes.
Yeah. Well, and I'll ask you this, Lance, right off the top. Oh, before I forget, Lance, you're the president. Did you bring the check for the show?
Yes.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
a nonprofit, so it's only $300 for the show.
Okay, perfect, yes.
So you can, you know what? I'll just send you an invoice.
Well, we brought 4. So.
Yeah. Do all the parents who have kids in the Golden Apple Marching Band, are they pretty much by default end up on the Booster Club? I mean, is it a hard sell? Hey, your kid's in the band, so join our organization.
Quite a few, but not all. Yeah, most of the time we have a pretty good turnout of parents. And it works out because not everybody can do all of the events, but you know, most can do some. So we always have plenty to help with the comp season and different fundraisers and stuff like that. So yeah, we have quite a few parents that help out.
As the president of the Booster Club, I'm assuming you're also the head recruiter by default.
Yes, kind of, sort of, but
Yeah.
we do have a committee for that, which helps me out a lot. You know, I have to, and Janice, we have to wear so many hats that it helps to have different people run different segments, and it helps out a lot. So we don't have to do it all per se.
Did you personally recruit Janice to be on the?
Yes. Yeah.
What was his pitch? What did he say, Janice, to get you
He
on
just
board?
nominated me. I didn't
Yeah.
have a choice.
Well, under the understanding that I wouldn't leave for a couple more years,
Yes,
so
yes.
she didn't want to get
I'm under his
thrown
training.
right into the fire. But
And you have kids in the band, and kids who have gone through the band, have graduated and moved on, and it's still, I think, 1 or 2 is still in the organization?
2. I still have 2 in the high school band. Yes.
Okay. Do they all play different instruments, or they all play the same?
My oldest and my youngest played the alto saxophone. My middle son plays the trumpet. So only 2 different instruments.
Which
So-
isn't too bad, especially
No.
when they rehearse at night, right?
Yes, yes, that's
They're
right.
supposed to.
So, yeah, it's kind of nice to not have them all the same, but
Yeah, that's important. And your kids play what instruments?
I have a trombone player and a trumpet player.
Okay.
And then my son, my oldest son that graduated, is in the big band, and he plays trumpet. He's in
Okay.
the Wenatchee Big Band this year.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. Great year for Jim Kovac and his crew. You won a bunch of awards again. The footage that we're going to show, this is from Homecoming, and this is they just wrapped up what they call the comp season. For the uninitiated who don't understand the fall competition season, Lance, give it to us in a nutshell. What exactly does that mean?
comp season is we have 5 different schools that we go to, or comps that we go to, and that is Cavalcade of Bands, Tumwater, Yakima, Sumner, and our final one is in Auburn.
And the Auburn one is the traditional Veterans Day weekend.
That's correct.
That's basically the equivalent of, I don't want to say the state championship of bands, but it kind of is, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
it's the most prestigious one.
Yes.
So.
And it was a great year this year for the graduating seniors because they did very well, both in the parade and in the comp. The Auburn one is a little different than the standard comps. They march in a parade and get graded on that, and then they compete on the field that evening, and they're graded on that, and then they combine the scores to come up with a total. And
how do we do?
We took 2nd place in the parade in our division, and we took 2nd in the field show in our division, which then put us, we had enough points that they took sweepstakes. They took it all. So that was pretty nice for the seniors, the graduating kids, and
That's great news.
They had a great time.
This is an incredible show that they put on. They started working on this probably mid-August, I'm guessing. Is that about right, when they start
Yes.
working on the
Yes.
on this deal? Think of the discipline that it takes to do what they're doing right now, walking forwards and backwards and sideways, the whole time playing an instrument
Yes.
and playing it well. It shows incredible dedication and incredible discipline. And that's the first thing when I think about the Wenatchee High School Golden Apple Marching Band. This is one disciplined group of kids, isn't it?
Yes, they are, and hardworking. And of course, Mr. Kovac, he instills a lot of discipline in them. They have to be there on time, dressed appropriately with everything that they need. And sometimes if they're not, they don't perform. So it teaches them a lot of responsibility.
But he also likes to reflect on the students, because I've asked Jim to be on this show any number of times, Janice, and he always sends the drum major.
Yes,
He sends Olivia, or he sent Olivia this year, or the senior and junior drum majors last year. He doesn't want to. It's not about him. It's about the kids and the job that they do.
That's right.
And that's one of the things I love about Jim. Olivia did a great job this year, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
She did great.
And the kids pay attention to her too. That's the one thing I noticed. I mean, once they start taking the field, Jim sits in the corner and watches, and Olivia takes charge, and the kids do what she tells them to do.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, so it was a great competition here. Good job for everybody.
Yeah, it was pretty fun this year. We had a great group of parents and stuff, and a lot of parents stepped up, and like there's so much involved in the background, like driving the truck and trailer, getting all the uniforms to the comp. And we had a great group of people help out, and
then there's the unforeseen challenges, like there was one game this year where you had to play in the rain, and you weren't going to leave. Or when they do competition on weekends, they'll stay through halftime, then they leave so they can get rest, and because they have to get up at dark 30 and drive to who knows where to compete. And I can't remember what game it was. You were supposed to stay for the whole game, but it rained, and so everybody had to leave because the instruments had to dry out.
Yes,
Those unforeseen things.
Well, all the instruments and especially the uniforms.
Yes.
You want those uniforms to dry out because, you're dealing with high school kids, and sometimes they don't smell the greatest. And
you talking about the uniforms or the kids, Lance?
Well, both.
Okay.
On the buses and stuff, it gets cramped for them a little bit, but you definitely want them to be rested and have their uniform dried out and equipment ready to go. So it gets a little exciting sometimes, especially when they play at a football game and they're up till 10:30, and then they got to turn right back around and be up at 4 o'clock the next morning to leave at 5. So it gets pretty hectic sometimes.
What's that? You saw the motion that the kids were doing during their field performance at the homecoming that we just showed. What's the hardest instrument to play for that? And I'll ask you, Janice, what's the hardest instrument to play for that discipline? Not the marching band down the street kind of thing, but the actual field competition, the field show that they do. What's the hardest instrument to play and still be where you're supposed to be at any given part in the score?
I would think the drums, the percussion, just because it's such a big instrument, hard to see over, hard to move around, heavy.
You have to be in good shape.
Yes, or the tuba, sousaphone.
Yeah, I was going to say drums and the sousaphone.
Yes, I would think so. With
I
all the
guess-
bending.
Yeah, and I guess the easiest would be like, the piccolo.
Oh, exactly. Yes.
I can zip all over the place. I'm going to ask you a question you might not know the answer to. Can you venture to guess the total number of hours that each of these kids put in between August and the end of the Veterans Day weekend for the final parade that they did here in town? I mean, just a ballpark figure. It's a lot.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I've never really.
Not only the practices, but
figure
they
it
have
out, right.
sectionals.
Yes,
So
during
they
the day.
do a lot of sectionals too.
And they do a lot of stuff that we don't see sometimes during class and out on the field during school. So there's a lot of hours involved.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it all pays off in the end, doesn't it?
Yes,
So,
it does.
What did you know before you won the sweepstakes, which was the overall best band in Auburn on Veterans Day weekend? Did you know before they made the announcements did somebody sit there with a calculator and said, "I think we won," or was it a surprise announcement?
I think it was a surprise. It was pretty close.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I know my wife is pretty good about
Crunching
keeping
the
track,
numbers.
kind of crunching the numbers. But I think in the Auburn one, it was a nail biter, and I think it was a surprise to them. So a nice surprise. So we knew that they had placed fairly well, but we didn't know if they were going to take sweepstakes or not. So it was a nice surprise.
It comes springtime, of course, then it's just parade time. It's marching up and down, which my guess is considerably easier. I'm guessing here. I mean, it's got to be easier than what we just saw.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's much easier. And the kids, this is the time now that the real discipline part of band season is over. The kids kind of sit back and relax a little bit. And you got basketball season coming up and all that, and they enjoy playing at basketball games because it's so relaxed and they can get a little bit wild.
Yeah.
And then turn back around and they start getting back in that discipline mode a little bit for marching season, and but it's still not as demanding as comp season.
Yeah.
So.
Although we have Disneyland this year. So.
Yeah, you're going to Disneyland, aren't
Yes.
you?
Yes.
How did you swing that?
Every 4 years.
That's right, every
Yeah.
4 years. So if you're in band from freshman through senior at one time in your band career at Wenatchee High School, provided you stick with it, you're going to be going to Disneyland.
Yes, you should have a chance to get to Disneyland,
Yeah.
which is a lot of fun for the kids. It's a little more work for the parents, you know, with all the logistics and getting stuff there. But the kids have it easy because all they do is get the plane tickets are all set up for them. They fly there, and all the equipment is there by that time because of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get dressed and march in the parade down Disneyland, Main Street Disneyland, and they just have a good time.
And then after that, they get to goof off.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah,
they
they
learn.
get to-
Somewhat.
Yeah. When's this year's Disneyland trip? When is it? Is it spring break? Or?
Spring break, yes.
Yes.
Break? Okay. So that's always. I mean, that's got to be an impetus right there on those hard days when you get back from, say, sectionals and you're just tired. You still got homework to do, but you can think, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
If I stick with this, I'm going to have a chance to go to Disneyland next year or the year after that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you keep bringing up parents, and I know a lot of them are involved with your booster club, and some of them aren't. But if the parents aren't totally vested in their kids' musical education, this band is not nearly as good as they are. And who's kidding who? They're
That's
good.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like any organization, though. We do have some parents that, you know, because of work or whatever, they can't be involved as much as they want to be. But they do, a lot of them do other things, just like the craft bazaar coming up. They help out, you know, after work or whatever in that capacity. We have a spaghetti dinner fundraiser coming up January 5th at 5 p.m. at the Wenatchee High School. And we've had a lot of moms and parents step up to help out with that dinner and fundraiser. So if they can't make it to all the comps and stuff like that and help out in that, they do help out in other ways, which is really nice. So hats off to all the parents.
Kudos to that.
Yes.
Do the kids, the members of the Wenatchee High School Golden Apple Marching Band, they understand the tradition of this band being good and winning awards every year? Do they feel the pressure? I mean, I know they're just high school kids, but do they feel like they need to keep the tradition alive? Janice, I'll ask you first too.
Yeah,
I would think so. I would think it would be passed on. The seniors, you know, try to instill that on the younger kids. We had a lot of freshmen this year come in, about 50
right
kids.
about 50 freshmen.
How do you account for that? Why so many freshmen turn out this year, Janice?
It just seems to get bigger every year, the classes. And I'm not sure that we have 22 seniors going out this year, and we had 50 freshmen come in, so.
That's a nice problem to
Classes get
have,
bigger,
isn't it?
yes.
Yeah, we did have a problem with the amount of uniforms that we had and stuff in different
Yes.
sizes. We did have to spend quite a bit of money on getting some new uniforms. And like you said, there's a whole size difference in some of those kids. We have really tall ones, really short ones, and it big commitment as far as the.
Sure.
And Janice is in charge of the
uniforms, yes, I
Okay,
am.
so you do the alterations?
So
do you
I
have like
do.
a commercial sewing machine at your house, or how does that
No,
work?
I hand sew most of them.
Oh wow, now that's dedication.
Yes, I know.
And then my
I
guess
do need
is-
some help.
My guess is there's probably a kid or two in the band whose uniform fit great in September and doesn't fit so well in April.
Yeah,
You
every
know,
year, every year.
Yeah, kids
Yes,
grow.
Yes, they do.
So yeah, that's.
We also have a big color guard this year. The biggest color guard we've
Yes,
had.
we want to talk about the color guard a little
Yes.
bit
Well,
too.
please do. Yeah, go ahead.
James, I'll let you
Oh,
talk
go
about
ahead.
that a little bit. Well, man, we've had some phenomenal girls this year, and we had nine color guard girls, and we usually have 3 or 4 maybe. So we've had to come up with, of course, new uniforms for that many girls, and just tried to build the color guard up, and it helps us out so much. And we had a great group of girls. We had 2 moms that really came through for us and did a great job, and so it really, the color guard did a great job this year.
Well, kudos to them. Well, kudos to everybody who made, and it was a great show. It was a very, the show that you did this fall was really cool. And the thing I pointed out, and I noticed this a lot, was people don't leave at halftime. They stay and they watch the show. And that right there is tribute to the band. They don't go and get a pizza and go to the restroom and grab a hot dog and wait for the second half. They stay in their seats and they watch the band perform.
Yes.
And that's got to make you feel good.
Oh yeah, it was pretty neat this year. So.
One more question before we started talking about the Holiday Craft Bazaar, because this popped in my head. You're a kid, you're making the transition from middle school to high school. You're good at your instrument and you want to be in the Wenatchee High School Golden Apple Marching Band. As long as you meet the criteria, you're pretty much in, right? And then it's up to you folks to, okay, Johnny needs a uniform, that kind of stuff. I mean, is that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think
if you
no
qualify
one's
for the
turned
band,
down.
nobody gets turned away.
No.
So, and how does that work? Do you try out for gym in private, or how does that? How do you?
You just show up to class and you're in pretty much, as long as you behave.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Stick with it.
Yeah, because well, and Jim makes sure that the seniors, juniors and seniors, section leaders, the section leaders basically bring those kids up to speed. Jim just lays out the music, and it's really, he kind of lays down the law to the section leaders to say, hey, get these freshmen, new kids coming in up to speed, and so it helps out having a big group of kids, and the section leaders really work hard to make sure their section is performing as Jim would
Accountability.
like. Yes.
Accountability. And,
Yes.
and the kids like Jim. I've seen Jim interact with them. They love him. So he's a likable guy. Let's talk about Saturday. It's a big day for you guys. What's happening?
Oh, it's huge. Start out Saturday morning at 0500, and the kids are there to help the vendors come in, get unloaded, bring all their stuff in, and it's a big day and a lot of fun. The kids enjoy it, you know. You get to meet a lot of nice people, and so but the bazaar is December 1st, Saturday, runs from 9 to 3 o'clock, and of course I think, you know, we get people showing up at 8:30, 8:45 or whatever, which is fine. And they just come in, and it's a warm, you know, the high school commons and part of the hallways and stuff. It's warm, inviting, and it's a great event.
A lot of organizations, nonprofits, do these holiday gift and craft bazaars, but what makes this one different, Janice? Why is this one special? What sets it apart from the other ones?
Everything has to be homemade, handmade. We don't have anything that is not homemade in the craft bazaar.
So I can't go down to Hooked on Toys and buy a Battleship for $20 and then mark it up to $25 and sell it there.
No.
Doesn't work that way.
No.
So this is unique
Unless
stuff.
you make it.
Yes. Yeah, unless you make it.
Yeah. So you're going to find things at the Wenatchee High School Commons that you're not going to find anywhere for that person, and everybody gets one on their list every year. What am I going to get this person? You might be able to find 2 or 3 things that you didn't really anticipate when you go there, right?
Yes.
That's right.
And all the proceeds go to the band also, 100%.
And how does that work? How do you guys get a cut of it? You just running out booth space to the vendors? Or how does that
Yes, and we hold a raffle also. I'm in charge of the raffle, and whatever money is made on the raffle goes all to the band also.
work? What's the prize this year?
Lots of stuff.
Lots of
There's
stuff.
a lot of prizes to bid on.
Cool. Yeah. And this plan, I've been there. I've gone in a couple of years. In fact, I got my Wenatchee High School blanket there a couple of years ago. It's big. This is a big event. There's a lot of people who come and go.
Yes, it has gotten bigger the last few years, and I think people like it because there's so many vendors there. There's quite a few, and there's always something unique that they, like you said, get for Christmas and this and that, and it's a lot of fun. So it is busy.
Yeah. My guess is there's a family heirloom waiting for you at the Wenatchee High School Commons on Saturday for the holiday gift bazaar. What number of this is it? I've 10, 12? I'm trying to remember.
I want to say 15 or 16.
Yeah,
I
that
think.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, don't you like it when somebody starts something and it works and it keeps going and now it has a life of its own?
Yes.
Yes.
So comp season's over. We've got about 2 minutes left for the Gold Apple Marching Band for the rest of this year. What's on the schedule? Now you said you got a little dead period, a little relaxing time for the winter.
Yes. Now it's just basketball games, getting ready for the spring trip, which is Disneyland, and then marching in the Apple Blossom Parade.
And you do a couple of parades as well.
We do.
Yeah.
We do the Manson parade. We did last year.
Yes, that was the first year, I believe, for a long time.
Yeah, for quite a few years. This is the first time we did it last year, and I think he's planning on doing it again this year. Don't quote me on that, but as of right now, I think Jim's planning on going back.
And of course, this year's Washington State Apple Blossom Festival is the centennial, the 100th Washington State Apple Blossom Festival and the Stimul Growers Grand Parade. And the Golden Apple Band has been to every last one of them that there's been a band. So anything special planned for the centennial that you know of? Or
you know, Jim kind of keeps that secretive. He lets us know right at the last minute. So as of right now, we do not know.
Okay.
He'll surprise us, I'm sure, with something, but we'll see.
When the kids, and I've talked to some of the senior members of the band, and when they crest a rondo and they head down towards the park on a beautiful spring day, and they see thousands and thousands and thousands of people, they go, "Wow, this is cool." And it is cool.
Oh yeah.
The Holiday Craft and Gift Bazaar is at Wenatchee High School Commons. It's pretty much all day, 9 o'clock to 3 on Saturday.
Yes.
Right. Show up there with your checkbook and your cash, and get ready to get some really cool gifts. I'm looking forward to it.
There's going to be quite a few vendors.
You know what? What I'm going to do, I'm going to waive the $300 fee for being on my show, Lance.
Will ya?
Because I'm an alumnus of Wenatchee High School and I love the band, so no
Well,
charge.
Fantastic.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dan.
Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Club Crow is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow Saturday nights. We have live bands to rock the night away. Club Crow is bringing comedy to Cashmere. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming dates. Live jam session first Sunday of every month. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
Well, we might as well end where we began, which is our TriCaster burping all over the place. Let's take a look at the forecast one more time before we catch you loose and get your weekend going. There you go. Mixture of clouds and sun today. We're going to call it partly sunny skies, high of about 45. Whatever rain or precipitation we were supposed to get, that chance has kind of come and gone. Going to get some rain tonight, maybe mixed with some super light snow, especially in the Waterville area. Waterville Plateau, you could get some snow tonight into early Saturday morning that may even stick to the ground here in the Wenatchee Valley. It's going to be rain on tonight and on into Saturday. A little residual rain on the Saturday morning, lots of clouds Saturday, high of about 41. Partly cloudy, dry, cooling down a little bit on Sunday and a high of 38. A couple of clouds, maybe a light snowflake late Monday night into Tuesday with a high of 35, and then sunny and chilly as we say goodbye to November and welcome December, which by the way happens tomorrow. Real quickly, the mountain passes, traction tires are advised on Stevens. They're getting some snow, some light snow on Blewett. No advisories, no restrictions. I-90 looks fine with some light snow, but it's not sticking to the roadway. Your only traction tire advisory is Stevens this morning. Everybody have yourself a great Friday and a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.